I love the, if you like my vibe, like and subscribe. That's cool. That works great. All right. Oh, I forgot though, my backup device. What did I do with it? I put it here and I forgot about it. So let me grab that. That way I can see comments a little easier than on the big screen there. And if I don't plug this in, it will die quickly because it's old. All right. Where's my YouTube? It takes a second for me to load up. So if I click on myself, will it show that I'm live? There we go. Yes. All right, awesome. Now that everything's in order, I meant to have that in advance, but that's okay. No one's here, so it's just you and me, which means you're watching it post live. So, oh, now we have somebody on. Yay. So welcome to my studio. I expected to get on earlier today, but it's just been busy now that I'm on YouTube, which is awesome and fun. But I have a bunch of mini abstract preparation that I need to do still. I did a little bit of line work this afternoon. So I'm sorry if you couldn't hear me. Now can you hear me? All right, let's try that again. I'm not as big a fan of having no music, but what are you going to do? I guess I could turn it up some. Could do that. So I don't know why that one died and this one didn't. That's kind of weird. I'll just turn the tunes up a little bit. Don't know if you'll be able to hear them, but we'll try. You have to leave me a comment and let me know if you can hear it. Anyways, it's more important that you can hear me. So it seems like I'm going to have to charge my little microphones for a little bit. So sorry about that. If you can't hear my music, I can turn up a little bit. Yeah. Maybe you can hear that. Maybe you can't. I don't know. If it's too loud, let me know. You have to drop me a comment. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. All right. So what I've got to do is I've got to apply tape to this one. I said I had 4 pieces on. So you can't see the tape, but well, this live stream is already a little bit disappointing. I will get better at this every time. I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear the music? Because the speaker for the microphone, the microphone died. One of them died. So I had to take it away from the music. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is it's time to apply the next layer of tape to this one. And apparently I was going 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to be adding this today. Let's see. Today is the 30th of January. I have to put the year on here because this one hasn't had tape applied to it since 2024. Isn't that crazy? Sometimes they don't get picked up for quite some time. All right, so this is number 5, and we're going to do 5 pieces of tape. So each number is only just the next number, I guess. So this one's an easy one to remember. Oh, you know what? That's interesting because now I get lost on these if I don't do them every day. And when I have several of them going, then I get even more lost. I want to say, yeah, that this one needs 5. I don't know. I get lost. And you know what? When I pull out the tape off, it's not like anybody is judging it saying, oh my gosh, you didn't follow your rules on the back. Like, it's my painting, so whatever, you know. Yeah, you'll have to let me know. Have to go mute. Oh, well, okay. I mean, if you got it, you got it. What are you going to do? It can't be helped. Hopefully, I don't have to go mute. Do you like my signs? If you like my vibe, like and subscribe. I think that that was just a brilliant idea. I created them on Canva, and then I downloaded them to my phone so I could like reverse the image and flip it, and printed it backwards. And I think they look cool. So I guess the little markers or whatever could be colored a little brighter, but it looks artsy. I just wanted something that looked artsy, you know? What's going to be funny though is if I ever like, well, I won't be, I only flip it for certain posts. So yeah, no, even if you watch the replay, I just thought it would be fun to have it. Now, what I'm thinking though, I'm going to say this because I know my husband's listening, even if he's not commenting. Oh, he has to have me mute for a few minutes. Oh, that's no fun. Well, anyways, he's not listening. He just said he wasn't. But what I want to do is like wrap it in like Christmas lights so that it's like lit up, or LED, but they need to be like close together. So most Christmas lights have like, you know, a couple inches in between the lights. And I would want something that was like more like a rope. Ooh, so that gives me the idea. I need to go on Amazon maybe and think about ordering like a little LED rope for around that. That would be kind of fun, don't you think? Yeah. So, anyways, this is supposed to have 5. I want to just count. Technically, if this is on track, there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plus 4 would be 10. So let's count and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So I am right on track. So I am going for 5 pieces. All right. Trying to like make sure that they're very straight too, because I want it to be like geometrically accurate. I'm hoping this works. And the tape will have held up for a year and a half without anybody touching it. I'm surprised that it will oftentimes, you know, you think after 2 years of having the tape on the canvas with all these different layers that it would like not come off or it would rip the paint off or whatever, but it never does seem to do that. So let's see. I want to maybe put one here. I'm going to do 5 pieces on this particular run of tape. And on this piece, I'm going over the edge. So it's funny because yesterday when I was working, I was like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I paint over the edge? Because it's such a pain to keep up with it. And sometimes I will do like what I did here and tape off the edge. But then like when you do the tape reveal and you've done the edge, it looks really cool hanging up. So I don't know. I'm torn. Back in the day, they didn't have canvases with a clean, nice edge. The staples were like in the side. And nowadays, that would be kind of like considered really tacky to even make them like that. So I'm glad that they don't anymore, because you would almost feel like you had to frame your work. And I don't know that all artwork really needs a frame. I think a lot of it can stand alone. I did a lot of sculpture in college. And like the idea of framing a sculpture is kind of ridiculous, right? But like the painting itself to me is like the art, you know? So the idea that I have to like dress it up in a frame sometimes annoys me. Now, if I want to like protect something, then obviously you got to have it under glass, or you don't want people like ruining it. But acrylics, especially, it's plastic. So it could take a lot of wear and tear. And, you know, most people don't touch our work. So I like the idea that the canvas edges are clean and you're not like obligated to frame stuff anymore necessarily. All right, I think this will be the 5th piece, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting the I'm going to seal the edges of this so that when I pull the tape off, it won't have blood underneath. So I basically take this color and I paint it on under the tape basically, and then on top of the tape, if that makes any sense. Kind of like an old painter's hack, and it works really well. So I've got my jar of really dark purple here. Now, if the music is too loud, you'll have to let me know, because normally I would have like a microphone over next to it so I don't have to have it so loud. But for some reason, the one microphone I had died. So I ordered another set, and I don't even think these are that great, but like I'm doing this on a budget, folks. So I ordered another set so that basically I could swap out during the day if it dies on me. But it's not going to be here till Monday. And I also ordered another tripod so I didn't have to keep like flipping back and forth. It was so annoying to flip back and forth between the iPad and the iPhone. And I decided that it would just be better to get another one. So I had a little credit from a return at Christmas, and I was like, $5, I can handle it. Now it didn't only cost $5, but it only cost me $5 today. So I like that. That's right up my alley. It's right up my budget alley. So I try really hard to leave a little bit of the tape exposed, and I don't need to paint over the whole thing. I just need to get the tape edges. But I try to leave a little bit of the tape exposed and not just cover it. And the reason why that is I know my proclivity to like walk away from the studio or even just a particular canvas or whatever, and how bad that is. I should probably like put more light on my face. There we go. Not thinking about the lighting in here. So what I try to do is I try to leave myself little clues that will help me to pick up the piece and be like, I know exactly what I'm doing with this. Now, if you're with me yesterday for any of the live stream, you're going to know that I was like wrestling because I had no idea. This was not touched for years. And I think it was because it was like stuck up way up high, and I'm 5 feet tall. And if I'm not looking at it, I'm not going to think about it. So yeah, this one I tried, I really did, but I just decided, okay, I'm going to dive in how it makes the most sense. I either have one of two options. It's to tear off all the tape and kind of like just reevaluate, or just to go with it and build on top of it, and then see what happens when I rip off all the tape and do a reveal. So I'm sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit. I have a drink right here, and I keep forgetting to grab it because I'm chatty. So the lives are a perfect opportunity for me. I don't really love to talk in the crowd, but I've been teaching art for so long, and it's just like natural for me to do it. So this is a great way for me to like scratch the teaching itch without having to drag my crap all over the place and have other people use my materials. And I don't know, just people, like who doesn't like to have their like safe space, I don't know. My mom was telling me last week, she was like, well, I don't like to sit home and do nothing all day. I was like, is that what you think I do? Are you kidding me? She's like, I like to go places. I'm like, I don't know. I have everything I need right here. Like everything, it's got all my favorite stuff, my music, my yarn, change of clothes when I need it, electric blankets here, there, and everywhere. Because if I've got to live in upstate New York, then I at least need to stay as warm as I can. I have space heaters strategically placed throughout, and a couple of yarn crochet corners. So I don't know. I've got books. I've got snacks. If I'm fortunate, I've got my hubby home. I've got my instruments. I've got a music room. I don't actually talk about that much. I know some people have seen my yarn room, but not a lot of people know about the music side of my life. And so I've got a music room with keyboards and guitars and all kinds of stuff like that. So I don't know. I think that if you can't make your home your most comfortable, happy haven on earth, then I don't know. Like, I don't want to be escaping it. So, all right, I'm just trying to hurry here. Not hurry, but I'm just trying to make sure I get a good seal around the edges of each piece. And obviously, the more pieces I put, the more painting I got to do. The first, the one with the layer with only one piece of tape wasn't a challenge. The only problem with this format is unless people are willing to comment, which I find is not often the case. It's very interesting how people will watch lives and not comment. Very different, I don't want to say, very different culture on TikTok. Lots and lots of comments. Like TikTok really like hammers home people being interactive while they're on lives, and they have like, you give bells and whistles and all that stuff. And people are always making tons of comments. So I did like it because it was highly interactive, and this is not. I do feel like I'm sort of not talking to myself. When you're teaching, you almost feel like you're talking to yourself too, I guess. But I do feel bad that, you know, it's less interactive for the viewer. But I guess if you're watching it, then I guess you don't mind. So I was live yesterday for several hours actually, and I had planned to be on there for about 1 hour. And I've actually got it loaded up, so you can always go check it out if you didn't get to see the whole thing or you weren't there. But I ended up being online for like 3.5 hours almost, and I think really I felt bad for leaving. There was always at least 3 or 4 people in the room, and I thought, well, I don't want to just like bail on people. It seems kind of rude. So I stayed and I made art and I got stuff done. And at the end of the day, it was a really good painting session. So sometimes I buzz through these abstract minis just trying to hurry up and get to the next thing. And I felt like, well, like I can't really change the activity that I'm working on in the live because it would just like be weird. I don't know. Maybe you can move the camera. I guess. I don't know. I'm still learning. But anyways, I had this, notion that I had to kind of like stick it out doing exactly what I was doing the way I was doing it. And so I ended up getting just a lot done and being able to be like, I don't know, really thoughtful about what I was doing, which was kind of cool. A lot of times I'm like watching other YouTubers while I'm painting, and that will kind of keep me going. But I found the live streaming was actually a lot more effective to keep me working on what I was working on. So who knew? Who knew? I plan to be live streaming tonight with my husband, which is fun. I think people really, oh, that piece of tape is wicked crooked. I think people really respond to like the idea of a husband and wife team painting together in a studio. So it might be an unfair advantage, but I'm going to use it, because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I really am. All right, so that tape looks pretty sealed. I'm just like looking for little cracks. The tape sometimes doesn't want to adhere tightly to the canvas. And if I recall, I don't think I smashed it down with my thumb like I normally would. The one downside about doing things on a live stream is I might get forgetful about my normal, like standard operating procedure for things because I'm talking. And that sometimes does happen. All right. I guess we're going to call this one quits for now. So now I can take the next color, whatever it is that I want it to be, and add that to this one. But I don't know what it's going to be yet because that is the darkest color that's on this canvas. So now my husband thinks that yellow is too bright. Oh, I forgot to put my duck painting back up. I was going to do that so that y'all could see that I do more than just like weird abstractions. I also do like traditional representational work, and I just want to have some of it up when I'm on a live stream so that you can see it. Okay, so this one, what I want to do now, actually what I want to do now is maybe seal that up for a second. So I'm going to do the same thing to this one. I'm going to put the tape on there, and then I'm going to seal the edges with the purple, because what I painted over everything yesterday was like, well, I have enough of this purple. I don't exactly know where this painting was going. So I'm going to put some tape down. It's just a matter of which width do I want. I usually keep a wide variety of tapes. I have like a little container next to the table here, and I like to try to vary it up. Sometimes in certain paintings I use all the same size and it's very consistent. I had one for an example here of what I'm trying to achieve. Where did it go? I don't know. I really try to get ready before I do this stuff, and then I like get absent-minded and forget what I'm doing because I'm very absent-minded. So now I don't even know. I lost a painting. Oh, here it is. It's above here. It's literally above here. It's just too high up for you to see it. But basically this is the effect I'm going for with these like layered tape paintings. Although this one will be a little different because of how I did it. But essentially the purple one I just did, I'm getting texts from my husband that are images, but I can't see them. I know he must know that. And so anyways, that's what this right here eventually becomes this. It just is so covered in tape, and it gets more and more and more tape until it runs out of space. And then I pull off all the tape, and then I have this whole like crazy type thing going on here. So that's what I'm going for. This one is a little different because of how I did it, but I'm still using tape on it. So I just need to determine which width tape I want to use. Probably just the regular like 7/8 inch. Finally leaving. Okay. Well, yeah. So don't ever say I'm going to be home by 4. Absolutely. Because I'm looking at my Picasso over there in the corner, and it's definitely almost 4 o'clock and you're still in Troy. But anyways, who's counting? I'm going to put one here, I think. This particular piece has like no rhyme or reason for tape and color. It's just got its own thing going on. I don't really know. Normally I make up rules for each painting, and I kind of like use that as a guideline. But this one I think has like more interesting stuff going on. So I am gonna keep with that vibe that I do feel is that I can see, like looking at the piece. Wow, this is kind of sticky. Alrighty. Wow, that is really sticky. I don't know if I like how sticky that is. I think I'll just go with the regular frog tape. I trust it. I love frog tape. It's so trustworthy. It really performs beautifully. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross over this like that. All right. But I don't want it to be exactly the same angle as the other ones. It's like a lot of angles. Okay. Like this maybe. Sorry. You have to listen to me think, because my brain like smokes a little bit when I think, you know? Yeah. Maybe like that, I guess. I'm trying to make it dramatic. Like me, a little dramatic. All right, and then I just need it long enough, obviously. Okay, so I'm going to put that down. And then I've got my dollar store scissors, because I don't want to wreck good scissors with tape. So I just use dollar store scissors. And if they ever get crappy, then they're only now they're not $1. Now it's $1.25, right? All right. So in the other ones, I would like always wrap the tape all the way around the piece from one end to the other, no matter what direction I was going in. And I usually do that for all of them. But in this one, I was like not doing that. I can see that for sure. So again, I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I could tell a little bit of what I was doing. And I don't want to like, what am I trying to say? I don't want to lose the original what am I trying to say? The original like feel of what I was doing. So what I do know I was doing was I was using a variety of tape sizes. And I was also not wrapping them all the way around the canvas. So not super interesting, but I think that will do it for me for this one, maybe. I'm going to be good and actually remember to push the tape down because I am so bad at remembering that. The question is, do I want anything more? Or do I want maybe, you know what? I just had an idea. I was thinking about that tape, like ripping my fingers off. I wonder what it would be like to do like, a couple of like pieces of jagged edge tape and paint over them. Like this right here. This is perfect. I'm curious. Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, what if oh. All right. You might be witnessing the birth of something new. That could be a thing. Is that where I want to do it? Yeah, I guess so. Might as well. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this, but we're going to see. We're going to find out together. All right, and then do I want to do the same thing, like maybe down here? That could be a thing. I got this jaggedy edge on the skinny one. So like I could do a repeat of that with a skinny one, but maybe like here at an angle. Yeah. All right. I'm digging this. I have no idea how this is gonna work. We're gonna find out together. All right. I know you can't see them now. That's okay. They're for later. Okay. Again, you'll have to tell me, William, if the music is too loud or too quiet. One of my speakers died, or microphones. Actually, why did I not just plug it in though? Duh. If I just plugged it in by now, it'd probably be charged up enough to do this. So listen, I'm not promising to be a genius here, folks. I just may be slightly entertaining. I'm not really sure. That's my hope. I hope you find me slightly entertaining. I'm really just trying to generate more long form content that I don't have to edit because it's so annoying. All right, so now I'm going to be painting over these edges. And honestly, I think I'll end up cleaning these edges up with like a black edge. So I'm not even going to worry about trying to paint over the edges. I'm just going to seal the tape edges that I just put down, and that's going to get me onto the next layer, whatever that ends up being. And I do try to push it down because even though it's the same color, I just want to make sure that I'm getting as little feathering as possible. But that's why I seal it with the same color, because it will basically eliminate almost all the feathering. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good, and it's a smart trick that house painters use. And I can't even tell if I'm painting over other tape or canvas, really, but it doesn't matter. As long as I hit all the edges, it should be good. I have never done this where I leave the raw edge of the tape though. So this is kind of a new thing for me. We'll see how it goes. I want to spritz this. I normally would put like my paint out on the glass palette and use it that way. But if I'm just doing like a little bit of stuff, then I don't worry about it. If I'm just doing this kind of thing, if I'm like trying to use it all day, then I definitely want to put it on the glass palette because I can have the plastic on it. And if I'm trying to use it like for the abstracts and I'm like trying to, take my mark making tools, that's obviously easier on a palette than it would be, out of the jar. So I'm cheating a little bit and painting out of the jar. I always think of it as like cheating because then I'm not like putting it on my palette, and I'm saving myself the stress of having to deal with that mess. And it does create a mess kind of every time. That's why this is here. I have this mess right here. So we could reveal this mess, which really needed to be taken off that palette some time ago. It's been on there for way too long at this point. William has come and gone and moved on to the next color and all that. And because I decided to give him a different palette, because this one has like this lip to it, I was just lazy and I was like, oh, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. I'll get to that. But no, you're digging it. I'm glad you're digging it. I don't know what you're digging, but I'm glad you're digging it. Are you digging my music? Can you hear it? I'll be interested to listen to this after and see how it sounds with the microphone issues. All right, so just trying to get a nice healthy seal around all this tape so that I can comfortably paint the next color and know that it's not gonna feather. And if I'm painting on other tape, then I try to avoid it. Like if I can't tell, then I'll cover it. And if I can tell, then I don't. So I just like really only where the tape touches the canvas is what's really important to me. And then I get just a nice crisp edge. In fact, I get very triggered. I don't mean to. Like, I don't want to be critical of other artists. Create and you do you, but I do get triggered when I'm watching people do like tape pulls. I can't talk. On different like art sites, and I know that they could have gotten a nice crispy edge from with the tape if they just like sealed the edge. And a lot of people don't, and I'm always like, oh, you know, trigger warning, as they like to say. The skinny one is hard to paint the edge. It's hard not to paint right over the whole thing because my brush is so fat. But I do try to leave the tape exposed, like I was saying, just a little bit, because then I can see I only have one color on it, then I know kind of where I'm at, in case I didn't really take notes, which a lot of them I don't. A few of them have notes on the back. One day, if they're ever trying to decide, like, oh, is this an original Jenny Lee Summers painting? They'll say, like, oh, this one has notes on the back. It couldn't be hers. And it's because I keep so few of them with notes that they'll think that the ones that have the notes are like the imposters, probably. I think that might be all the edges. I'm going to like just try to take a careful look here in the light and make sure, because man, once you do it, it's done. You can't paint the other color on top of it. If you didn't do this right, it won't seal and it will look bad. I think I got it though. All right. I'm excited because now I thought of a new way to do this with this like tape edge being covered. I have never done that. So that's a brand new thing for today. So I'm excited. So this one's ready for, again, like the other one, it's totally ready for whatever next color I happen to mix and I have a decent amount of, or I think works with a piece. So I will probably start mixing bigger batches of paint from here on out. I'm very bad about like mixing the bare minimum up for a section to the point where I actually have to go back and remix the whole thing and start from scratch. Which I don't know. Could be worse. Checking my speaker here. All right. This one is actually getting a color shift, which is pretty exciting. This one has had the tape put on there. I've painted over it. I've sealed it. And now I am going to be putting on that dark indigo purple. So music sounds good. All right. It's a little loud for me because I'm not using the speaker with it, but that's fine. Like I said, I ordered another speaker set. I keep calling them speakers. They're microphones. Sorry. I ordered another microphone set so that I could have backups in the event that this kind of thing happened. And then I would always have one set plugged in and one set available. So I'm learning, if you're doing this a lot, this one I painted the edge, right? If you're doing this a lot, then you really need to have kind of like two of everything. You need at least two devices and you need at least 2 sets of microphones, and you need at least 2 tripods and things like that. So I feel like everything you need double of, basically. And not just like because you might need a backup, but you actually need like to use sometimes things at the same time. I think I'm on delay when the live stream paused. It starts again for me right where it left off. So every time it does that, you're further and further behind. Interesting. Well, that's interesting too. I didn't know that YouTube did that. So it makes it so that you don't miss out on what I'm saying. That's interesting. Very cool. Thanks for the feedback. So I guess what that means is then that your comments then are behind. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Sorry about that. So if I'm responding to comments, then I'm not going to see them right away if you missed out on a part of the live stream. Or I mean, if you paused, I guess. That's interesting. Well, I'll do my best to be easy to follow and to answer your comments, but obviously I can't control whereabouts in the live stream you actually are. I appreciate you watching it though, even if you are getting further and further behind. It's really nice to have your company. All right, so see how you have like a color shift there? That one's pretty obvious. I always like the really obvious ones. And yeah, so I think that's the right. I think we're on the right color. So anyways, yeah, so see how there's like purple to blue. And really with these, that's what makes it so dramatic, is that you get that lovely shift of color. I guess I could like set that right there so you could know what I was working on. This one is titled Never Quite Done, because that's what it feels like when you're making them. They feel like they're never quite done. And I work on them so slowly because I'm really working on other artwork. These are just my mud puddle paintings. Oh, I like that better than mini abstracts. Mud puddle paintings. I like that. I might have to start using that, because yesterday when I was playing in them for half the day, I was like thinking of it like that. I was thinking, oh, this is like my playtime, as if I'm a little kid jumping in the mud. And I don't know, there's something like really fun about that, innocent. I don't know. I really like the idea of this being like playtime. I think for a lot of artists, it ends up being like that for them. Because like representational work can be really tiring, especially it's like mentally taxing. You're trying to problem solve the whole time, and that can just be draining. I'm just trying to fill in the little spaces where I see the weave of the canvas. And this will take 2 coats in the little spaces, and then it's going to get, hang on, this one I actually do have notes on, amazingly. And then it will get 10 strips of tape, and then it will get, then I'll seal the tape like I was doing on the other pieces, and then I'll go and add the next color, whatever the color is going to be. I don't know yet. We haven't actually started the paint yet for the next one that my husband and I are going to collaborate on, which I'm really excited. I'm really excited about that. I was talking about it yesterday a little bit in the live stream. We're calling it The Artist's Hand, and it's basically an image of my hand making artwork, which I think is really good timing in this world of AI where everyone's questioning what's real and what's not. I was like flipping through Facebook today, I think, and I was just looking at stuff, and I thought, it's really hard to know what's real and what's not. I'm to the point where I'm starting to just tell myself that everything I see online could be fake, every single thing I see. And that really changes, I guess, how seriously I take it. So when I feel like, I don't know, that I'm not perfect. All right. Like I have to clear my throat and I stutter and all this sort of thing. I think the one thing AI will struggle to do in the short term, at least, will be to fake like human frailty and imperfection. So I'm realizing like that's less of a detriment and more of an asset in this AI driven world where people just want to connect with authentic people and they want to know that it's real. I don't know why I thought like 10 years ago when people are like, you know, talking about the very like early ideas of AI and what it could be, or 20 years ago, I guess, probably more like it. You know, I guess I thought like people would prefer AI over people. I genuinely thought that. But come to find out, people don't want it. You know, they really don't. I guess it can't be helped that we're gonna have to have it, since the powers that be seem to like, you know, really insistent upon us needing it in our world for productivity and ease and comfort and all that. But I'm seeing more and more people are like pushing back, saying, "I don't want this. I don't want AI." So I do think that's really interesting. I'm gonna let this dry up before I put the second coat on there. Not putting that away. What I'm gonna do is just move it for a second. And this one here is going to get a tape layer. I think what I'm going to do with this one, instead of like incrementally increase them or whatever, is I'm going to use the same number of pieces for every single layer and see where that goes, and maybe not even use as many. So I don't know what is this. I can't talk. See, there's the stutter right there. I don't know what is a good amount. I'm thinking maybe 10. I don't know. I'm gonna just start putting them on there and see what happens, and then I'll seal it and try to at least put a few notes on the back as to what I'm doing. Yeah, so what I might want to put is initial layer down. Started 128, 26. On 29, I got, let's see, 2 coats of the first layer. And now we're going to tape off. And let's see how many pieces. I don't know yet, but I have it ready. I have it ready to write down. All right. I'm going to try to be better in 2026 about keeping notes on what I'm doing. But I'm thinking 10. And then I think each layer is going to be like a mad dash for all the colors. So this one has like a lot of different colors because I incrementally increased. I think I started off with 3 pieces, and then I went 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 until I kind of ran out of space. This one I think is going to be a little bit less. I don't want to say chaotic. I think it's going to be a little less. Well, this almost looks 3-dimensional to me. It looks like you're looking way deep into something. This one I think is going to be a little bit more 2-dimensional because of how I want to do it. I don't want my paintbrush to get yucky. I usually like have a piece of plastic nearby so that I can just wrap it in it and it won't get dried up. And I don't really want to put it in the water because you need like pretty thick paint to seal the edges. I don't like to water down the paint if I'm sealing the edges. Then it causes feathering. So that is the one time I will be pretty adamant that I'm like using as thick a paint as I can. Let's make sure I have one going this way. I don't often like start with the totally solid canvas because it's pretty paint intense, even for these little canvases. I don't make these on the big canvases because there is tons and tons and tons and tons of paint on those. And so just from an economical perspective, it's really not economical. So they kind of have to be small. The nice thing about reproductions is, you know, I can print them off for any size, but I probably wouldn't print them bigger than like 16 by 20. I think my printer can print as wide as 17 inches and as long as anything you want, which is cool, but I don't tend to print much bigger than 16 by 20. And even though I haven't got it off the ground yet, my plan is to get the website off the ground here by the springtime and have prints and all that ready, because I can get online all I want and I can go, lives all I want, but if I don't have work available, then, you know, what's the point? So the goal is to be able to figure it out and get my website up and be able to sell prints all while doing all this. So I'm getting there. It is hard not to be triggered, considering we go to the nth degree for the most razor sharp line possible. Frog tape in itself should be enough, and sealing the tape should be enough. The combo is deadly. Yes, there is definitely a deadly combination in sealing the frog tape. I mean, you don't have to use frog tape. I just really like it. I think it's very good quality tape. I think it's dependable and it does respond well to sealing. And the other thing I really like about it is I can have it on these paintings for years and years. And I mean that. And I can pull the tape. It's not like unwilling to come off the surface. It's not pulling anything off. It's very, very good tape. So I'm always excited about that. So if that tells you anything, if you have cabinets and the stuff comes off and the frog tape was on there for a day, that's how poorly made those cabinets are, by the way. If you're like refinishing or like, I know we've just done a lot of work trying to like block a person's cabinet from their sheetrock wall that we're painting. And I'm telling you, sometimes that stuff, I don't even know. It's like rice paper that they make these cabinets out of. That's what I think. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we're having Chinese food tonight, which I'm kind of excited about because when I was really sick, my husband I was like the only thing I could really eat, it felt like, was egg drop soup. So he would go and get it for me, which was awesome. And I was so grateful because he did it more than once. He also got some from Morocco. So I just want to give them a thank you so much for your amazing soup. But he would bring home the Chinese food for himself, and I wanted it, but I wasn't able. So I do feel like I need to be redeemed a little bit. Let's see. I got 1, 2, 3. Okay, maybe. Yeah, I don't even know if 10's gonna be enough. I'm not sure. I want like a pretty dense amount of tape, so. But as long as I just know how many, then I can just write on there how many I did. Let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I were to do one more, maybe like this. I have to stick out my tongue because it makes it easier to work. All right. So that should give me 10 pieces right there. I'm going to double check. And then I'm going to seal it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. I'm going to go with 10. 10 pieces per layer on this. That's going to be the roll. 10 quarter-inch pieces of frog tape per layer for this one. All right. So we got tape times 10, and now we need to seal it. So I'm going to even write that I sealed it on there so I don't forget what I was doing. And now I want to make sure that I get it actually sealed with my fingernail first, just because it helps. Kind of pushes on the canvas in a way that makes me uncomfortable, but that's all right. If you remember, you can spritz the back, and that will like make it a little bit tighter. Okay. Where's my other water bottle? This one is playing easel duty. There we go. That might help a little bit. I'm not sure. All right. I'm amazed at how much purple paint I made. I've been able to do a ton of stuff with it, which is, some of them I had no paint left over to do anything with. But here I went again with this. You know what I'm going to do instead? I just had an idea. All right, I'm sorry, forgive me. I just had an idea though. I'm thinking of the edge could stay purple. That could be cool. So, what that's going to look like. Yeah, this is a great idea. It's a great idea. What I'm going to, can't even talk. What I'm going to do, I'm so excited, I can't talk, is I'm going to tape the edge now and I'm going to seal it so that the purple edge is saved. But no other colors go onto it. Does that make sense? So that will kind of like save me from having to paint around the edge, but still have like a different kind of interesting effect. So yeah. So I will seal this as well. Yeah, this is brilliant. Because honestly, I'm getting like super annoyed with the other one. I almost want to do the same thing to the other one. That could be kind of cool. That could be kind of cool. It's going like too far over the front. Sorry. I know it's not interesting to watch me do this from the back side of the canvas, but so yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up saving the purple edge by taping it off, sealing all the tape on here and the edge, and then this will have like a nice clean purple edge, which would be kind of interesting. I've not done that before. So 2 things I haven't done before today. Very cool. So even if I sit in here all alone in my studio and no one even comes, I feel like I'm much more creative just talking about what I'm doing than just doing it. So there's 3 sides. I'm going to do the last one, and then I'm going to seal all this tape with the purple paint so that it doesn't, that one kind of came over the front a little bit, so that it doesn't bleed under. And then I'm going to have a nice, beautiful purple edge. I probably can do this to the other one if I wanted to. This one here. Now, I've painted around this edge like every time. It's a little one, so it's not that bad, but it's tempting. This one is taped off, so it will just have a clean white edge. Because I know I did that first, I can see the evidence of it under there. But it's a pain in the butt to paint around that edge, so I'm kind of excited to try this and see what happens. My studio is just kind of an art laboratory. All right, and I'd like to press it down good with my fingernails so that I help it along. Even if I'm going to paint it, I still want to help it, which I sometimes forget to do and then regret it later. All right, back to the brush. And like I was saying, the more, that already did tighten up with the water spritz on the back, by the way. With the lots of pieces of tape, there's a lot more sealing to do, but that's all right. I really like the idea of the purple edge on this. That'll be fun. Kind of excited. It's going to look like, I think, that the edge is like pouring out onto the piece, like over the top of it, because let's see, the way this works is the first layer of tape, and here it's this color here, is the topmost layer. So if the edge is this purple, and then I have like 10 lines going, it's going to look like the canvas is like wrapping around itself. Does that make sense? Probably not, but that's what I'm going for. So I'm excited for this because I never thought to do that before. I've always just done the edges either natural, wrapped around, black, or white. But what I haven't done is a different color. So it should be interesting. I just need to make sure I hit the edge all the way around or it won't work good. Because I'm going to be painting another color now on top of this. And that'll be a nice crisp line right there if I did it right. So I don't know what y'all are doing on your Friday afternoon, but I can't think of a much better way to spend my Friday. The only thing I would rather be doing more than this probably is taking a stroll on the beach. But right now, it seems like all the beaches in the whole country are freezing cold, so I probably wouldn't be doing that even. My favorite beach down in Sebastian, Florida, the beaches down there I love, they're my favorite. And it's freezing down there right now, so sometimes I actually have like this time of year, I start getting like Facebook reminders that say like, oh, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and all my Florida pictures pop up because it's always this time of year that I start to feel like I need to escape the Northeast. I was jokingly telling my husband, because my birthday is coming up very soon. It's on February 9th, and I'm going to be 50, and that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Took me this long to get here. I'm pretty excited. And I was like, a great birthday present would be like a road trip, to somewhere warm. Um, I would love for him to take me seriously. I'm sure he's not, but I'll probably get to go out to dinner. But I'm like, listen, you know what I want? Because now all my Florida pictures are popping up because this is oftentimes when I just cannot stand being in the Northeast. It just, oh. But I try to get the fun bossa nova vibes going in the background and all the lights. And a lot of times I'm like still wearing a sundress. I don't care. I just put on the space heaters and I imagine I'm in painting in Florida. But like I said, I know it's cold there right now, so it's probably gonna be warm by my birthday though. So I don't know. I'll tell you what, it's not. It's not frozen. So this is a little bit tedious to do and probably not all that interesting to watch. I'll probably be a lot more interesting when I get back to doing the watercolors on the lives, which I will be doing. But right now I've got to get this painting off the palette and I've got to get these at least, wrapped up with this last color. And once I finish a color on one of the giant acrylics, it does take me usually a couple days or at least one day to get through all the abstracts. And this pile, there was so much paint that I decided to really put it to good use and do a deep dive into the abstracts because a lot of times I'm just kind of racing through them or I don't even have enough paint to do them. Sometimes they just don't get the colors I'm using on the paintings, which is fine because these are just playtime paintings with leftover paint. But this time I had so much paint, I was like, well, like let's go luxuriously extravagant and get used to being on a live stream while doing kind of mundane stuff. Although when I'm like using the mark making tools, that's always more interesting. But I gotta get these layers down and I might as well take the opportunity to do it now. So, and it is kind of boring. It is a little bit boring, but so that's what I'm doing. Is it may look hard to see it, but I'm basically going back over the tape with the same color that is on the canvas and sealing those edges really nice and tight because it will just make it look prettier when I'm done and give me these crispy edges. No feathering really. That has a tiny bit of feathering in a few spots. This wants to like jump off the canvas right here. I don't know why that's doing that, but we're just going to paint it down and it will suck itself to the canvas when it dries up. Sometimes I put these near the vent on the floor so that it like wicks the moisture out of them. I do cheat and use hair dryers and space heaters and ventilation ducts in the house to help things speed along. Especially when I'm having to take so long to paint the edges in because it looks like I'm just painting nothing right now, I'm sure. But this step right here is so important so that I can get those clean lines. So I don't want to skip it because then all this effort and all this time would just be for nothing. Well, for me, it would be for nothing. I do get very triggered by bleed under tape paint or I can't even talk by paint that bleeds under tape. It's very triggering to me. I hate feathered edges. It's like you use tape. There should be a clean edge. And I know, like they kind of sell it as if it would give you a clean edge when you paint up against it, but it's not true. It doesn't account for like irregularities in the surface. It doesn't count for humidity. It doesn't account for whatever other like contingencies you might be dealing with. So like even right here, I can see that the tape wants to pop off the canvas and I have to like actually smash it down and make it stay put and obey. So not exactly the most interesting part of my studio life here, and I didn't get on earlier because I was so busy. It's been really fun to create all the different content. I've got some Just Jenny Lee's that I am like, again, doing boring stuff and talking about my thoughts on just stuff, being an artist, life, I don't know, some of my history, and doing little vlogs, giving you a brief like insight into how my day goes sometimes, which some of them are one day and some of them are two, but I was working on another one today. I had one going yesterday and it didn't have enough content really to pop it up online. So I don't want to feel obligated to do any one type of post every day. That's kind of I don't do good with that type of expectation. That's like a little bit high expectation for me, but I want to have some consistency. And the other thing I have for posts, I was thinking about this. In the springtime last year, I had done a couple of interviews and they were crochet designers, but artists in their own right. And I would like to actually edit those and post them and then start doing more artist interviews. So those will be coming. I don't know, who I'll be able to interview who's not an artist, but I have a lot of fiber artist friends. So I plan on doing some interviews with some fiber artists that I know and then with some artists that I know as well. So that will be like another type of content that I'll be posting on my channel. So I'm excited for that. That's coming soon. All right, we're getting there. Oh, I know it's so hard to watch me paint dark purple on dark blue. It's not very interesting. So if you're sticking it out with me, I really, really appreciate you. And if you want to get like free art education here, I went to college, got a degree, and I've been a practicing artist for 30 years. And I taught for years and years. And last spring, I feel like that was the last time I wanted to be in somebody else's classroom. I'm just not in my own space. I'm not in my own element. I don't have autonomy. And so I decided just recently that instead of trying to recreate the teaching outside of my home experience, because I love to teach, I just hate carrying my crap everywhere. And I hate like inevitably people like it's hard for people to always have materials or come up with their own materials. And so I inevitably am just nice and I share and my stuff gets ruined and I don't want to say I'm not compensated at all. It's fair, but it's just a lot of effort. By the time I get packed up and I go and I come home, then I don't feel like I was actually creative really because I was just helping other people be creative. And so this is fun for me because I'm able to be creative without feeling like I'm not getting anything done. So it's kind of an ideal way to be an artist, I guess. And I'm hoping this year to be entering my work into some shows and into some galleries and get it back out in the public again because I had just walked away from it for a while. So, which is kind of weird. It's weird when you're like selling and showing your work and all that, and then you like take a big long break from it to do something else. And then you're like, you know what? Actually, I think I walked away from the wrong thing and I came back to it. Now I have to like start all over again. But that's okay. You got to start somewhere. I love to say that today is the first day of the rest of your life. So that's what I'm going to look at it as. I only have a little bit left on the side. And then what? Did I say I was done? Oh, the second coat on this, and then that gets tape. And then I think I can go back onto mark making. Yeah, I just need to get a few things out of the way before I start doing mark making. And it's probably not very interesting to come on a live stream to do this, but even if my husband just enjoys listening to me on his ride home, that's always nice for me. So just another fun way to get my art in and to get some interaction with people. So close to being done with this. I will be excited because this first coat on one of these tape paintings is intense. You got to have like 2 solid layers on the first, like the whole thing, and then the tape, you're like, there's so little tape that there's a lot of canvas to cover. Once you get a bunch of pieces of tape on there, you don't have to keep painting on the tape part, you know. But when this is the first layer of tape, I have no other tape to paint on top of, so everything is basically fair game for needing coverage. It starts to get easier like the more tape you get on there. And like I said, I tape the edge here, so now I have to seal the edge, which I won't have to do again. I'll just kind of like roll the paint, you know, over the edge, but I won't have to seal it, which takes a little bit more care. I really don't want the paint to feather, so for little spots I just fill it in, but for big spots I really try to be conservative and just hit the tape, because I do save the paint and I do use it like for as many projects as I have. And this one was a big pot of paint that I mixed up. These are little 4-ounce mason jars, and I love to use the mason jars, especially for acrylic paint. The paint will last for years, and it won't go moldy. It will go moldy on my palette, but it won't really in the jar. And if it does, it takes years. So that's what I really love about them. And I have hundreds of them in my house because I don't want to run out. Sometimes I find them at yard sales. Sometimes I order them. Sometimes I get them for free. People love to donate stuff to my studio. My studio is jam-packed with all kinds of donations and whatnot. So anyways, this is ready. Thank goodness. Now I can move on to this one. This one needs the second coat in the spaces. So this is what it looks like when there's a lot more tape. And then I'm like not even needing to paint in the areas where there is no tape. I probably need another drink. Hang on. All right. Sorry if you can hear me swallowing. Sorry if I just pounded on my speaker or microphone. I don't know why I keep calling it a speaker. It's not a speaker. All right. I like the second coat. It usually goes a lot faster. And I just kind of, I'm just trying to get like even coverage so that the color is like consistent. It has good coverage really the first time around, but there's a little bit of like light coming through or the previous color or whatever. So I'm just trying to make it look really solid. I'm not looking for brush strokes in these paintings. I just like them to look almost like vinyl. Does that make sense? That's kind of what like I have going on in the one behind me here. In some of the paintings, I'm like going directly on the canvas, and the paint has like a thinner, washier look to it. And I don't mind doing that when I'm making the marks, but on these, I really like to have like a thick, plasticky almost looking vinyl surface that's really smooth and really opaque. That's kind of what appeals to me the most when in certain ones that I'm doing. So sometimes I'm treating the acrylic like a watercolor, and other times I'm treating it like almost like a vinyl wrap, if that makes any sense. Just depends upon what I'm working on. So once I get the second coat on here, I will let it dry up, and then I will add the next layer, which is telling me is going to be 10 pieces of the skinny 1/4" tape. It'll be really interesting to see how much canvas is left once I do that. So it's interesting because you do start to run out of canvas, but if you can get to the point where you have very little canvas exposed, then you have this really beautiful effect with tons and tons of colors. So it's worth it to just keep plugging along and adding and adding and adding and sealing and adding and sealing and adding. And just, I go back and forth, basically. A little bit left on this one. Then it really needs to set up and dry and cure, in which case I'll either put it like in front of the vent there that just blows the air, like circulates the air in the house, or I will put it like in front of the space heater, whatever I think it will need to dry up. And down to this last little bit, and then I'll be done with this one, which will be a relief because these are paint intense. And the fact that I started another one kind of accidentally by writing on the canvas and having it bleed through. I was like, you know, normally I only want 1 or 2 of these going because they are so paint intense. These take so little paint. That's why I can use the leftover paint from my palette, which I've got sitting here, and it's efficient. But when I use this, I better have a lot of paint because it takes 3 layers and it takes a lot of paint. So there's that one. All right, I'm going to set these aside. All the ones that needed to have the paint applied to seal the tape, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 of them now. Done. Thank goodness. All right. I think is that it for the purple? I think for the moment. All right, so I'm going to be digging into this palette now and this mess because I have a couple that need some marks made on them with this teal. So I use like a palette knife on this one here, which is, I don't know. What did I do with it? I think it got rusty in the water overnight and then I washed it, but I don't know what I did with it. I have another one if I decide to not be able to find that one, which is fine. I have these other 2 plastic ones, but it's like a metal one. I do like it because it's like flexible. I'm going to try this one here and see if it works. I like the effect. So I just take my paint and I like thin it out a little bit and hope that I don't paint on other stuff, which happens. Let's see. I don't know what I did with that other palette knife. It's the only thing about the live stream is like, I don't really feel like I should walk away from the screen, you know? So then I'm like, oh, crap. All right, let's see how this one does. I might have left it by the sink. I'm not sure. This one may work though. Interesting. Is that the color on there that I really want though? I feel like I've already used this color. Oh, I did already use this color. All right, well, I'm going to add some of these thinner marks. I don't mind this thin mark here. So I'm going to add a few more to this one. All right, I was kind of not taking this palette knife seriously, but it's making decent marks actually. So it's like, I'll show you. You respect me. All right, so that's probably sufficient for that one. I don't want to add a ton to it because I want to wait for the next color. So I'm going to leave this one aside. Oh, actually, it looks like we have one that would be ready for, we have 2 ready for plastic. So this one has the tape layers on it, and then I basically take the plastic from the palette and I stick it on there, and then I put more tape, and I just keep doing that process over and over again. So that one will want more tape. And then this one, I'm making like this mark with a tool that my husband and I created. It's my new favorite painting tool. It like rolls on a paint roller, and I created it with a glue gun and a toilet paper roll. So I like hot glue gun these like circles and dots, and then he put it on the paint roller for me, and it kind of makes like that kind of mark. So I want some of this teal in there. So I'm gonna like thin it out a little bit so it's not like goopy on there. It needs to have enough water to flow, and it needs to be thick enough to show. Water to flow, thick enough to show. All right. See, I didn't do it good because it kind of like got gloppy in spots. So I try to load it up and not be too sloppy, but there's one right there that got awfully gloppy. I sound like a Dr. Seuss book, doesn't it? All right. See there? That's kind of cool looking, right? And there maybe? not exactly sure where I'm going with this one, but I'm just letting it lead the way. That may be it. That may be what I do with that one. I don't know. I wanna give it time to do its own thing. This one though, this one for sure wants this application. I have to make room. My studio isn't big enough. I need like, I was telling my husband last night, I need a 16 by 20 foot studio, not a 13 by 13 foot studio. Truly, I need a bigger studio. All right. This is a tight squeeze here. All right, so I'm going to thin this out some because it got gloppy. I'm not sure I love that. Yeah, you're right. I am definitely not compensated enough, unfortunately, when I have to bring all my own stuff. So if the pay is okay, then I would need to either have a materials fee or I would need to have people bring their own stuff. And, you know, unfortunately, if there's a materials fee, then it makes the class really, really expensive. And if there's not, and people bring their own stuff, they end up bringing like not really good materials. They end up bringing crappy stuff, and then they can't like really achieve what I'm trying to teach for the class. So, all right, we're gonna try this in here. It looks gloppy, but I'm gonna try it anyways. It's a little gloppy. I guess it could be worse. We're just gonna go with it. I mean, it's just texture art, so I'm gonna be okay with whatever it decided to do, even if it is gloppy. It's no big deal. Just want to make sure I hit everywhere with the mark making tool. All right. This thing is cool. This thing is really cool. And like I was saying yesterday, I'm hoping that by the time it gets like all the layers of acrylic on there, that it like becomes, you know, basically cured and waterproof and even better. So I'm not really worried about the paint being on there because it will just, it's, you know, it's acrylic paint, it's plastic, so it will just eventually like seal this up basically. That's what I'm guessing. Oh, I'm glad that you've had a good ride joining in. It's been fun to have you, actually. It really has been. Okay. Set this aside. It's been a quiet live stream, but that's okay. I really think that we will get more activity when this one needs the purple actually, and I don't have it out on the palette right now, nor do I want to, so I'm not going to do that one. But I've got these two, which also kind of need this green color. Yeah, I want to say that color is that color, so I want to say I already have this one on there. This is color number 7 for this. I'm going to use the roller on this one too, I think, actually. So after I just dried it off, I'm going to get it all wet again. So are you stopping home and bringing us Chinese, or are you going to go straight there? You haven't mentioned it. I am excited for Chinese. The last time I had it, the whole thing, I had a full meal. I got sick off of it, and then I thought I'm never gonna be able to eat it again. But then during the illness, I felt like I was craving egg drop soup, so I was able to eat that, but I wasn't able to eat anything else, which made me sad because my husband kept coming home with like amazing Chinese food concoctions with the egg drop soup that he could eat the other stuff and I couldn't. And it was like, oh no, I'm ready for the Chinese food now. So that will be fun. And he'll be joining me in the studio for a live stream later on tonight. Well, not tonight, in an hour or two here. So that should be fun. I feel like people always love to see him painting alongside me in the studio, and makes me a lot more interesting to watch, I'm sure. So I love this mark making tool that we created. It is so much fun and unexpected. to think that glue gun on a toilet paper roll would be effective, but I love the marks it makes. It's fun. It's very cool. So that's kind of where that one is right now. And what I was doing with this one was I put down layers of tape on each layer. I like trace it out with this silver pen, and I'm really interested to see what it looks like after I peel off all the layers. How much of the silver is there? How much was exposed? How much wasn't? I don't know. We're going to see. So that's where that one's at. And then same deal on this other one, but it's gold instead of silver. I have to walk in the other room for a second. Sorry. And I'm doing the same thing with this one. I have a pile of paintings in the room next door. Same thing with this one, basically. Going to do some of these circle marks on here. This one didn't get the dark purple either. So I have a couple that still need the dark purple. So that's something to keep in mind, because I still have a lot of it. So I might as well use it up. This one, I think what I'm going to do is just keep the roller like really regular, like in rows basically, and get an even coat over the surface. So it looks kind of sloppy and messy, but I think at this point it's really ready for the next layer of tape and tracing. So once this dries up, then I'll put another layer of tape, because the way I know is this tape now is like pretty covered up. So once it gets pretty covered up, then I'm going to put another layer on there and then keep working. So I'm excited because it's gotten incredibly layered up. It's not really what I wanted to say, but it's got depth to it now. So that's exciting. So that being said, I need to grab the next piece I'm working on so that I can also add some color to this one. All right. And in this type of work, I basically make lines with the palette knife. Which is running over like another taped off canvas, which I add tape, I remove tape. Some of these just take forever because they're just a work in progress that seems to never end. I mean, they do eventually. They do get finished here and there. It just seems like more of them get started than get finished, though. That's, ooh, this edge wants to come undone. Might need a little tape securing. And I try to like vary up the marks. Some are like heavy, some are thick, some start at the top, some start at the bottom. They all have their own like thing going on. So, and I know I had applied this color to a lot of the other mini abstracts, but I had to clean off the palette and I just thought I would grab a few of them and do it. So kind of where I'm at on that. I think what I'll do is put tape on this and then maybe get the paint cleaned off of here, grab the plastic, put it on here. I think that's what I'm going to do. Oh, you know what? And the other thing, I have this red canvas. I don't know what I'm doing with it. I really don't. Sometimes I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, this tape bubbled up too. I might actually have to reseal this. This tape right here did not want to stick. So what would happen is if I painted down on top of that, then the paint would go underneath the tape. So it's going to be really important that I make sure that that tape is like sealed down, because it did not stay down in a couple of spots, which happens. I'm going to stick it over the vent and see if that helps, because that sometimes like pulls the moisture out, and it also like will like tighten up the tape and everything. So, and then the other thing I wanted to do was give this thing some marks. I don't know what I was doing with this, but I am going to do something with it. Today I decided that I would take my favorite palette knife, which is these like weird shaped ones, and I'm just going to do some of these like back and forth marks over it, and it becomes a start of something. It's just like a foundational layer. but the contrast of these colors is really striking to me, and I thought it would be a great base for this teal. And then I can add to it with some more subsequent colors. And it does make some like interesting lines and marks, so I kind of dig that. Sometimes I'm just looking for like contrast because it will kind of glow underneath the subsequent layers of paint if there is. Especially if they're like complementary colors. I found that like purples and yellows and purples and oranges work really well together. So traditional complementary colors would be like a teal and a red. So I'm going to do some of that on this one and just see what happens with it. All right. If you're here with me, I really appreciate you. I am going to be just totally honest and say I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to join my journey. And I'm just going to be going live like every day because I'm already painting in the studio every day. And I used to teach. So now I'm just trying to combine the two worlds so that I don't have to leave my house. I'm just being honest. I don't know. You know, people. And I love people on one hand, and on the other hand, I love my space. So I don't want to criticize people, but I really love the idea of being able to do the teaching that I did, but out of my home and not have to rely on art centers and all that sort of thing, or have people in my house. So my goal, which I'm hoping, is that I will be able to continue teaching, but out of my home on YouTube. And so anyways, yeah, just being honest. So now I'm going to take some of this teal and I'm going to be applying it to this canvas here. All right. So let me put my mark making tool away. I don't know if my husband's going directly to get the Chinese or coming home first, but if he's going directly to get the Chinese, then I still have a good amount of time before he gets here and before I have dinner, which is lovely. Because while I can get work done, I want to. I'm trying to rinse the purple out of here. This is what I was painting all the purple with. I have a clean thing of water. I'd love to use like old. I would never eat this crap now. If you're a big fan of margarine, I don't want to criticize you, but really it just makes good paint tubs for me. People donate all kinds of stuff to me, like paint tubs. All right, so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm not going to cover the whole thing in the single color like I was doing for this one, which would get me like this effect here. This one's kind of got its own thing going on. Again, I don't know exactly because I didn't touch it for so long, but that's okay because the nice thing about this type of thing is I can use less paint. I don't have to cover the whole thing, which is very, very paint intense. So I'm going to pick a few spots, and then the other areas will get colored in with other paint. It's a little runny because I was adding water to it for so many days trying to keep it intact. I knew I needed to clean it off the palette. I was so excited to be doing other things. And I didn't know what I was going to do with it. It really took me taking this painting off the wall and deciding to finally work on it that it gave me the idea to put this color on it. So sometimes one good idea leads to another. And actually, I'm going to color that whole part in right there. I think that'll be fun. I don't know. This one will probably be the most interesting to do a tape reveal on. That's what I think. I do like this color on here. It looks good. Same deal though for this, even though I'm only doing like a smaller section, same idea. I still have to do 2 coats. I still have to put tape on there, the new tape, and then I still have to seal that tape. So it's still just as intense. It's just a little bit more chaotic with the different tape that I have going on here and the different colors. It's I don't usually do these like this, but I think I was wanting to like switch up how I was doing these. So I kind of have like an interesting idea of like having this like teal color like cutting across the canvas and coming through. And because I've got the tape on here, it gives me like natural lines to follow. I'm going to stop talking for 2 seconds. I'm sure that y'all would appreciate it. All right, I think that maybe. And actually maybe this and this. And I'm thinking like here. And there's a few spots that I won't even have to seal the tape because I'm just going to cover the whole thing and not touch it. So I think this one will get also like a little easier on the paint supply because there'll be spots I'm just saving and I'm not going to be even needing to seal. So that'll be cool. It's very slick surface though. Like I can't really get the second coat on there until it's dry because it's so, the paint wants to lift off the previous layer because like I was saying, it's almost like a vinyl. So I should probably let that be. But what I can do real quick, we'll let it dry. Let's see. Maybe I can put it out here by the space heater. Out by my music, I have a space heater. I have 2 space heaters. The other one's not on. I can put the tape on this one. This one I didn't actually count. How do I know? Oh, yes, I did. I am making like marks and stuff, so that's good. All right, so I did the one with 8, I think, is what my husband did. I don't think I wrote it on there, but I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, okay. So now we're going to do 9 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. And on this one, I'm just using the skinny stuff, which I lost. So we cover that up. And all right, well, I have lots more skinny tape, so it can run, but it can't hide because I buy it in bulk. So good luck, tape. You have not a chance against me. I have not a chance of finding the edge. There it is. Let's see. One. Now I got to count up to 9. Let's see. I'm going to do that one right there. 2. Oops. I made it shift when I touched it. 2. Alrighty. Let's see. 3. Maybe. I think. 3. Not like it really matters, but I act like it matters. Four. Five. Six. Let's do it that way, maybe. There we go. 6. Seven. Two more. 8. Now, I don't even know if these are going to work. I've not actually done I've not done a full reveal on any of the ones where I have the plastic just stacked and stacked and stacked. This is a total experiment, and it may suck. I have no idea. We will just have to wait and see. All right, I think that was 8, so this will be 9. All right, so now I've got 9 pieces on here. Just want to make sure I get them like really down on there. And I'm trying to decide which color plastic I had on there. Not sure if this was the color. Might not be the best color for it. It's almost like it already was on there, but that's all right. I am going to take some plastic for this one and just get a little bit of it, basically, like that. A little bit on each end as well. And I'm not trying to pick up a ton of it. I just want to get like a little bit. And then I'm going to like kind of scrunch it up a little bit. And then kind of go this way with it. And then that will like sit up and dry for the night, basically. So it's not the most exciting, but it works. So let me see if that other one, where did I stick it? The one that was already getting this with the extra coats. I wish y'all could tell me what I did with my paintings because I lose them. Oh, that's right. We put it in front of the space here. I forgot. And beautifully, it's already dry enough for the next coat. So that space here works wonders. All right. And this is just how I use up the paint. I don't really need to do this. I just like doing it because it's fun. And it's less stressful than painting the big fancy ones. So today is just a play day. I'm having a play date today with myself here, which sounds kind of bad, but it's not. Let me scooch this one out of the way so I don't make it messy. Yeah, I'm going to like this color on here. That's going to look great. Well, now that I'm thinking about still on mute on the Chinese place. What? You've been on mute for a while? What? Is that me? Are you saying that there's no sound coming through? Is that what you're telling me? What do you mean I'm on mute? Now you got me concerned. Are you saying you cannot hear the sound because my microphone is on and the lights are on? So now you're making me nervous. Still on mute. Are you really saying there's no sound? That would make me sad. So are you saying that I need to grab the other microphone maybe? I don't know. I have another one. And now it's charged up so I can use it. So I don't know. You have to tell me if it's not working. I'll put this one out by the speaker and maybe turn down the volume a little bit. I have to find my remote though. Oh, here it is. So yeah, I don't know. Now you got me worried. All right. I've got the speaker out, or the microphone out with the music now. So I don't know. You have to tell me if there's sound. Now you got me all kinds of concerned. I mean, I'm going to be grateful to not have to compete with the sound system there, because I didn't have the microphone charged up. And so I was like yelling over the music basically, which felt stressful. So. All right, now that I've got the second coat on this, the next step will be to add whatever layer of tape I want and to seal it off. So I kind of need the palette still going for a few more minutes in order to do that while this dries up. So I'm going to put this back out there. It takes a lot of paint really to cover up a dark purple properly. But that kind of used up what I have here. There's enough basically to seal the edges, and that's kind of about it. All right. So I'm going to just give that a spritz and let it hang tight. Yeah, so that might be where I'm at with the mini abstracts. Now that I've gotten through both palettes of paint, yeah, I'm really kind of ready for the next stage, which is finish up this piece. Maybe tonight. My husband's going to be working on his painting. His painting is, let me grab it. Sorry, I have to walk back and forth because my studio bleeds into the family room, living room, whatever, TV room. So he's been working on his painting while I finish up this one. Or, well, yeah, there's a ton of line work on this one. So it's not going to be a finishing thing. It's going to be a work on type thing. So it's possible that the camera would probably be in the same spot, the same angle. So I could probably just do that while I'm waiting on that other piece to dry. That's probably what I'll do. And while I'm waiting on my Chinese food to show up, because yeah, it's not here yet. And I don't know why. I wish it was. It's taking too long. I need the Chinese food. I need it now. But if you're with me and you like art lessons and art time and studio time, definitely I'd love to have you like and subscribe. That would be great. And you can check out all my other fun content that I'm working on. I recorded another Just Jenny Lee earlier today, and I have a vlog that I am editing and putting together that covers the last few days. The content that I have, like, created a list essentially, and now I know. I didn't really know. I didn't understand YouTube. You know, everybody else wants you to create shorts and reels. There's no such thing as long form content on any of these other platforms, really. So it wasn't something I was really doing, and I tried in the spring and I thought it was so tedious, and I was like, I can't do this. I thought it'd be too hard. And I was like, I don't know, trying other spaces. And now that I'm here and I'm really putting my time into it, I realize how versatile it is. So I think what I'm going to do is like a Just Jenny Lee, which is going to be like 2 to 3 times a week, maybe 4. I don't know. Depends. They're pretty just off the cuff. I don't really have to edit them. I just record as I'm working and just am talking about like whatever topic I want to talk about. And those are going to be like, I don't know, like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes long. And then I want to go back to doing the Fiber Arts Fridays. That was a series that people really liked. It was like usually each episode was about an hour long, and I would cover a bunch of different things, like what patterns I was working on, what pattern tests I might be doing, what yarn I might have scored, any patterns I'm designing. I would like feature a fiber artist. Trying to think what else. I would talk about just a bunch of different things. So I'm going to have to go back and watch them and remind and refresh, because I made 6 of them. People really loved them. They would get tons of comments, and even for the amount of views I had, they had a lot of comments and interactions. So I knew they were good. They're just kind of intense to do. So I'm thinking about doing those like maybe twice a month, and then all of my fiber arts content would probably get dumped into those longer format type posts, and then it wouldn't like be so confusing, because yes, I'm always going to have a crochet project in my hands, because when I'm not in the studio I still want to be creative, and that's just a great way to be creative on the go. But so I'm thinking like Fiber Arts Fridays I'll either do once a week or maybe every other week, I don't know, something like that. I have been posting the art process vlogs, and I've been doing them almost every day. It started with the Scarf Saga, and the Scarf Saga was like a daily update countdown to Christmas. And then I had the Scarf Saga 2.0, which I was still doing pretty close to daily. And then it kind of shifted gears into the studio. So I think that I will probably do like the creativity vlogs, or like this is day in the life of the artist type thing, or whatever. Probably not as frequently as I've done them, but still every couple of days. And they'll be like the actual vertical format, probably. I don't know. I'm still thinking about doing horizontal versus vertical. You know, when you've been doing vertical format for so long, it's weird to think in horizontal format, but it kind of like opens up your world. So yeah, my vlogs could very well change to the horizontal format. I don't really know. I want to start doing again the artist interviews that I had started last year but never posted. I've got a couple of crochet friends, crochet designer friends, that I had actually done a nice full length interview with, each one of them, 2 of them, and then I just didn't do them. I didn't put them together. I didn't edit them. So I definitely want to do that. And bring those in, and fiber artists and artists alike, like whatever kind of artwork that I can interview somebody for doing, that's what I want to bring into the channel. And then of course I'm going to have my live streams, which I'm going to just keep doing, hopefully as many days a week as I can, and I'll just repost those. So, which is a nice thing for me. They don't have to be edited. It's just you take what you had and you post it. And then I'll do, obviously my little shorts, which are just clips and funny things. So I'm hoping to have like a wide variety of content on my YouTube page, channel, whatever you want to call it. And then on Instagram and Facebook, they'll just kind of be funneling you here, because this is really where I want to focus. If I had realized years ago that YouTube was kind of like a place where I could do the educational academic side of my studio, then I would have done it a long time ago. I just never really looked at YouTube. I didn't really understand what it's for. So that may sound silly. But once I started trying to create for it, I also let myself get overwhelmed and maybe like put my standards too high, and also tried to like, maybe, I don't know, I didn't feel super authentic. So I'm trying to find a healthy balance between everything. And yeah, so the live streams definitely are probably the most fun. But I know that you can't exist on live stream content alone. So on my way. So anyways, I don't know exactly when my husband's going to get here, but I know he's going to get here in a few minutes with my dinner. So I don't know. I'll work for a few more minutes, and when he gets here, then we're going to take a break, and I'm going to have some dinner, because I've been going at it for, so it's an hour or 108 minutes. So if I do the math, that's 2 hours almost. Really what I need to do at this point is just get to work on the line work for this. So in order to do that, I will probably want to make sure I have my time lapse going. I'm pretty particular about time lapsing myself. I like to take my efforts and post them all like collectively, I guess. I like to see like the process start to finish, which is one of my favorite things to do. So I will get that set up. So if you're here and you're watching me set up my camera, I'm sorry about that. I am just trying to get used to doing these everything like in front of a camera, which is a little bit weird for me. because I am not used to doing this. So, oh, and that like puts a ring in front of you guys. So I don't know if that's a good idea either. It kind of covers up what I'm doing. Well, I'm going to be over here though. So that doesn't really matter, I guess. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm going to get better at this as I go. If it seems already slightly interesting, then let me promise you this is only the beginning. I've already, I feel like I've already learned so much, and had, there's so many ideas that I have going on now, and I just can't wait to really see, like, if I put my time to this for the next year or so, what could come of it. So that's kind of where I'm at. Um, and I found that it's like actually really fun to get on the live stream with my husband. We get to hang out and chat, and he works as an elevator service technician, and I just love to hear about all the interesting things that he does all day long and the interesting people he meets and all that. So sometimes we talk about that, sometimes we talk about other stuff, but we just hang out, have a good time, and you can't go wrong with that, you know what I mean? So what I'm doing on this painting is I've already got like the layers that I need to get on it. And it probably will be more interesting if you were closer, but I don't dare try to move the camera and everything in the middle of the live stream. So maybe when he gets here, we'll like get a little more zoomed in after I take a break to eat. Um, but yeah, I have already got 2 coats of each of the colors that I put on here. And then I go back after the fact and I basically trace in between the sections. And these lines take about 2 coats as well for them to be really nice and have the thickness that I like and the depth that I like. They look a little like, I don't know, compared to the very richness of the double coat of acrylic paint, just one single coat of the Sharpie isn't like enough, I guess. So I always have to go back and do 2. And then I like like where 2 lines like meet, I like it to look smooth. So it takes a long time really to actually get the Sharpie work done. And some people will say like, oh, you should use an acrylic paint pen or whatever. I just find them to be annoying, honestly. I hate using them. I don't mind using them for short periods of time, but I think it would just take a lot of them. They would go dead, and it wouldn't get the same level of thickness and heaviness that I like. So I'm not worried about like whether or not the Sharpie is gonna, you know, it's not gonna fade. It doesn't like the black doesn't really go away. I've seen yellow and orange and stuff over years, lose their opacity, but I feel like the black is fine. I've had some of these paintings for a while, and they look just as good as the first day. And even if they didn't, like, I could always go back in and retrace the lines if I really wanted to. But I generally just photograph my work and then sell prints or whatever. I'm not a big fan of selling my originals. They all take so long. Like this painting takes forever to do. Just getting the image on the canvas and everything, and getting it all mapped out, getting all the values separated out, getting the whole thing mapped out, and then getting it on the canvas, and then the double coats of paint, and I have to mix up all the colors in advance, and then sometimes I have to shift the colors because I'm not right and I don't like it once I get it on the canvas. So, and then after I finally get all of that filled in, and it's not easy. Like there's tiny little sections that I have to use tiny little brushes on, and do 2 coats of every single section, and then I've got to go back in with a Sharpie, and so they take a long time for me to execute from start to finish. They're just very tedious, but I really love them. They're very rewarding. So I'm excited that my husband and I are going to collaborate on the next one, called The Artist's Hand. And that's going to be the first one, I guess, that I'll be documenting fully via video and social media and all that. Normally, I might take time lapses as I go. That's what I have for the previous couple that I did. Now, the ones before that, I don't even have that. I have like just pictures basically of each like layer, the next color. I'm like 1, here's color number 1, done completely. So I don't even have time lapses. I didn't used to document my work at all because I would just, when it was done, I was like, here it is. I would take a picture of it and then I would show people. But come to find out, what is really interesting, I guess, is the documentation process, and getting to watch me work on it, which is a little bit vulnerable because obviously, if I'm live or even in the video or whatever, mistakes happen and I have to sort of like problem solve on the fly or whatever. But it's a learning curve, I guess. I'll figure it out as I go. So I'm probably going to stay on for just a couple more minutes here while I wait for him to come home and then take a breather. My mouth gets dry because I talk the whole time because I'm such a chatterbox, and I am. It's so true. I haven't actually watched any other artists live to know like really what is a good vibe for it. But I don't know. I'm talkative, so I just tend to be chatty. If you get me in a crowd, I probably am not super talkative, but I will be talkative if I'm like teaching. And this is so much like teaching to me. I was feeling encouraged earlier when I was working on this because I thought, oh, yeah, look how much I've got done. And then I looked and I realized how much I still had left to do. And it's so much. I'm not even really halfway through the marker work yet. I've kind of got to get to the end of this in order for me to feel like I'm halfway done. I've been doing touch-ups as I go, and that's been helpful. So at least I know like this top half is pretty pristine. I do have to get the line work to go over the edge though, because I do continue the image over the edge, and I was kind of lazy and didn't do the edges when I was doing it before. But I need to. I just knew I could go back and do them. But yeah, I was kind of cheating a little bit. Oop, and sometimes I go way outside the line. Whoops. Which is fine because it adds either character to the piece or I could just fix it. Like I do both. Oh, guess what that is? That sounds like dinner. I'm so excited. This could be almost dry. Oh, that needs another coat right there. Well, I better do that so that I can dry up.
Sorry, I think I'm about 5 minutes behind you now. And I realized the talk to text didn't work quite right. I can hear you fine. My phone was muted. So then I just heard that now and I answered. I'm like, you're not even gonna know till I get home.
Yeah.
That comment won't even catch up.
I don't know why you're telling me that your phone is muted. I don't need to know that.
Oh, all right. And just in case you were saying anything that you wanted me to know.
Oh, no.
All right.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know. Did you not want to listen to me on the drive home?
Oh no, I was listening. I was in the Chinese food place.
Oh, all right. That's what you need earbuds for. I'm just adding an extra coat to this. Yeah, you have earbuds. I'm adding.
I'm gonna bring them now.
Yeah.
Since we're doing this.
So I'm adding an extra coat to this, but I know it's dinner time, and mine and listen, I'm ready. I'm ready for dinner. But I just want to get good coverage. It's hard to cover that dark purple paint with like a teal. So this one's actually getting 3 coats. There we go. Okay, yeah. So I think my husband just got home and it's time for some Chinese food dinner, which I'm really excited about. And then he and I are going to do a live stream together in the studio, and he's going to work on his painting and I'm going to keep working on this one, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. So this one, now that it's got the 3 coats on it, I'll let it dry. I will put the tape down where I want it. I'll seal the tape, and then I can go on to the next layer. So I'm going to go, see, look at that. I can still see where the paint wants to lift off the surface so bad. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I may just need to really let that cure before I add the next layer. So this palette is unfortunately going to stay messy for the time being. And this is going to have to go sit out by the heater again. Okay. Wow. It's been a busy, busy day here in the studio. If you've been with me this long or you're watching and you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you. If you're an artist, definitely let me know because I want to make friends with other artists. I told you I stutter. I can't edit it out in the live stream. I want to make friends with other artists though and follow their journey and we can support each other. So I really appreciate you being here and hanging out with me during this time. I think we're going to cut the cameras for now just because I do want to have some dinner. And although we could eat while we were on camera, uh, that's not quite the content that we're filming. Although I have eaten during the live stream, but we're gonna set things up a little bit differently so that my husband can also be like in the live stream with me in the next time. So probably in an hour or so, he and I will be back, and he's gonna work on his painting while I work on mine. So I will have to say goodbye for now. I will catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Friday. Go do something fun if you haven't.